welcome to Subjective Thoughts. And our book for today is Club Dead. This is the third book in the Sookie Stackhouse series by Charlaine Harris and published by Ace. Now there is violence, fighting, blood, shooting, vampires, werewolves, other supernatural creatures, murder, killing, and more violence in this one. So if you are in any way squeamish, you have been warned. Also, spoilers. Alright, so it's been quite a long time since I read a Sookie Stackhouse book. I've read the second one, I think, last year. Yeah, I think so, and I didn't make a video because I've started reading it at whatever point, and then I stopped, and last year I finally got back to it, and I was like, oh fuck, I don't remember a lot of what, happened, so I'm not gonna make a video. So at some point in the future, because I'm pretty sure I'm going to reread this series, I am going to reread the books, and when I get to the second one, I need to make a mental note to make a thoughts video. Because I did make one about the first one, but that was like 4 years ago, according to my YouTube channel. I went to look. It was before I made thumbnails. So, yeah, a long time ago. Well, I'll get to that, but, now actually this is me rereading Club Dead, because I did in fact read it, but many years ago, and I read it in Hebrew, in the Hebrew translation. I don't remember, I think it was maybe called Moadona Metim, maybe that's how they named it in Hebrew, but yeah, I read, because I remembered things from the plot, which for some reason I thought belonged to the second book. But all of it was here. So when I get to the fourth book, that's going to be completely new. But here I did remember parts of the plot. So that's been funny, because I'm reading and I'm like, oh, this sounds familiar. That's why. Yeah, but I'm really glad I'm finally getting to this series. I have all the books, at least I think all the main books. Apparently there's a bunch of some in-between stories there, which I might try to get one day. Okay, anyway, let's get to the book. Sorry about all the blabbering, and that you can't see it that well. They all get like that. I need a different stand. That, and they also wrapped it, so it's a little, not shiny, but a little muted. Okay, so in the third book, this is a few weeks after the events of what happened in the second book. But here we have Sookie returning home from work at Marlotte's, and we're returning actually to Bill's home. And he's working on some project that when he sees that she's reading behind him, he turns off the computer. Apparently this is some kind of big secret, and he tells her that she must not tell anyone, and that he will hide in a place that he built in her house, the secret project, in case anything happens to him. And she has to keep it a secret, basically. And she's very upset with him, but she's like, okay, because he's been cold to her recently. Well, he is a vampire. Anyway, he tells her, okay, if I'm not back in about 8 weeks, that's when you should start worrying. And in fact, that time passes, and he's supposed to come back, but he doesn't. And then someone who's a werewolf tries to kidnap Sookie. But before that, Eric Northman, who's Bill's boss, he's like, okay, I'm leaving you with guards. Something has happened. Bill had some job from the vampire queen of Louisiana, and something clearly happened. So then Sookie gets escorted by Bubba, and this is something I love in the book. Bubba is actually Elvis Presley. And some fanatic fan who was a vampire worked in the morgue. He decided to turn him into a vampire, but something went wrong. Because it doesn't always go smoothly with these turning someone into a vampire. And his mind just got scrambled. So now he's basically being traded between vampires to be taken care of. Because he's, again, his mind's not there, and it's very bad to remind him who he was. That's why he's called Bubba, and no one refers to him as Elvis. So he saves Sookie. Sookie goes to her job, to her boss. And then Eric, the Northman, comes to her house. So now Sookie has to help find Bill. Bill was supposed to return, and as she finds out, because Pam informs her a bit, and then Eric has to admit it, Bill was going to leave her. He was going to leave her, and he wanted to make sure that Eric took care of her, or someone did financially. Because he was going to be with a vampire woman named Lorena. Which I'll tell you already now, it's very strange among vampires for them to want to be together. It's even frowned upon, actually, for them to be together. So it's very, very weird that he, wants to do that. Anyway, Bill is gone. They need to find him. So Eric wants Sookie, and he didn't want to tell her because he was worried she would refuse to go and look for Bill. But he needs her to go look for Bill in Jackson. That's where they suspect that the king of Mississippi has kidnapped Bill. Russell. Russell's his first name. So what Sookie needs to do, with the help of a werewolf that owes Eric, this werewolf, whose name is Alicid. I'm not sure how to pronounce his name. I've just been calling him Alicid. He's, based on his description, he sounds smoking hot. But yeah, he's the werewolf that owes Eric. And if he does this job for him, Eric's going to give him something that belongs to his family. It was taken because his father has trouble with gambling. So that is settled. He's going to accompany Sookie. They're going to be in Jackson for 3 days, and they're going to go to this club. Now, the club is called the Josephines, but the werewolves call it Club Dead because it's run by vampires. And here, in the world of Sookie Stackhouse, vampires have come out to the world. But werewolves have not, and and then there's always werewolves and vampires don't get along. I feel like that's quite common in these stories. Anyway, so it's settled. Alicid comes over, he picks up Sookie, and they go to Jackson. And she packs some and find her clothes, because apparently you have to dress fancy. The thing is, this club, humans cannot just go to it. Even though Sookie is technically a special human, she's a telepath, but they will not be able to go in there because there's also magic used on this club. So you need to go in with a date, a supernatural date. That's where Alicid comes in. So they reach Jackson. Sookie is sent to visit Alicid's sister, who owns a salon, and help get her nails and hair done. And then that evening they go to the club for the first time. It's not a big place. There is a goblin bouncer. How cool is that? So they go in. Susukie's listening in on the humans. She can't read the minds of vampires. Once in a while she can get maybe an image for a second, but she makes sure no vampire knows that. Werewolves she also can't read that much unless they think at her. And so that they get into that club. Now, Alice's ex-girlfriend, who's a shapeshifter, which is different than a vampire. Her name's Debbie, and she's a real bitch. She's getting engaged to someone else because Alice did not want to have children with her. He does not want to pass the werewolf gene. Because it's quite horrendous, as you can imagine. So that's that. They're listening in, and in the club, actually, that night, there's werewolves, and there's also Russell himself. And Sookie's listening into some human who she is quite certain is talking about Bill. How Bill is kept somewhere and he's being tortured. And then also that night, one of the other werewolves tries to hit on Sookie while Alice goes to the bathroom. And he hurts her. He just sticks his greasy fingers into her shoulder, drawing blood. And then she's saved by Russell, the king of Mississippi. And they're like, oh shit. So then he insists that they come back the next night to drink with him. And what can they do? They have to agree. So that's it. They leave the club. The goblin bouncer gets rid of this werewolf. I think his name was, Frank. So yeah, they gets rid of him. Throws him out, basically. And then the other werewolves that are with him try to start a fight, but quickly they're being beaten and also taken out of there. Then, they go back to Alice's apartment, already tired, but then Eric arrives as Sookie's about to fall asleep, and he wants some details. So she tells him what happened, all that. And then, it's funny, because also in the Sookie Stackhouse universe, vampires cannot go into someone's house uninvited. So, if you tell a vampire you take back your invitation, reinstate your invitation, reinside. So they basically, they have to get out, so they're just by force, they just leave your house. So that's what Alice does. It's quite funny. Anyway, after that, they have to go back into the club again the next night. And before they go, again, Sookie goes to see Alice's sister, gets her hair done again. And they come back, both of them, in, towards the early morning or the afternoon, and they both smell something weird in the apartment, and it turns out it's the body of Frank, the werewolf that had attacked Sookie. Well, that, was forcibly, basically trying to drag her with him to their table. And he's been killed. Someone broke his neck and stuffed him in the closet. So then they have to get rid of the body before they can, even leave to do to go to Club Dead. So they go through the whole thing. They wrap him up in a shower curtain and take him down to the elevator to the garage. It's a whole thing. And it seems like here werewolves don't have super strength, because old Alice C struggles with Frank. Well, he's a big bastard. I mean, he's fat. A bit. Then, after they dispose of the body, they come back in the evening. So getting ready, Eric arrives. And he's got his suit and everything. He looks different. He's going to introduce himself as Alice's friend. Sorry, I'm back. Okay, so that's the plan. And Eric also tells Sookie and Alice that he looked everywhere, and he cannot find Bill anywhere. He went to all the properties that Russell owns. And then they have a thought, what if he what if Russell is holding Bill in his mansion? I mean, right? That's possible. He thinks it's unlikely, but it is in fact what is going on. Bill is in fact there, and they don't know how they'll even get in there because Russell will not invite them. Obviously, also Russell is gay, so it's not like Sookie can hit on him to try to get an invitation, and Eric cannot either because, well, it's going to be weird that they're two vampires. Now, Alice cannot risk ruining his relationship with Russell because he does business in Jackson. So they go to the club, and Sookie meets Tara there, her friend from Bon Temps. In the series, the TV series is based on this True Blood. They made Tara into to more of a, I guess, more of a main character, because in the book she is mentioned, but she's not that main, basically. Anyway, she meets her there. She's like, "Oh, Sookie." Tara's there with the vampire. And then she and Sookie do some kind of dance they did for their school talent show or something. And then the Sookie, they sit with the king of Mississippi, so she's listening in, trying to, to get some thoughts. And then she hears something. She's like, "Oh shit," because what she picks up is some kind of fanatic is about to stake a vampire. And so she goes to the bar, and sure enough, Russell's second in command, the vampire lady, is about to be staked by the man behind her. But Sookie yells, he's got a stake, and then she starts battling with him, and the man that's with him is actually a fanatic from the Sons, or the Children of the Sun, the cult that Sookie had to deal with in Book 2. So, wait, Book 2. I think it was Book 2. And, I was in Living Dead in Dallas. And, she's trying to fight off this guy. The other one tries to run away. And Sookie gets staked. This poor woman. Now, luckily not in the heart, but she gets staked in the side. And then the one who staked her, this vampire second in command lady, she kills him with 2 punches. And then Sookie's really bad. The other bad thing is it's the night of the full moon, which means the werewolves and shifters are going to shift. So there's a whole mayhem in the club, and Alice C. shifted into a wolf actually runs up to Sookie and licks her face before he runs off. Because the one who staked her, his body is there, and the goblin arrives and he's like, no, get all out of here, you know the rules. So the body's thrown out, and well, with all this disaster, Sookie and Eric can get access to Russell's mansion. Because Sookie's badly hurt, and she saved a second in command, they take her there. They get Russell's limousine. Eric is under an alias, of course. He doesn't give his name. So they're driven to his mansion. Basically, imagine it's this fancy mansion. It's like the Playboy Mansion, but emphasis on the boy. Because basically, imagine if Mr. Hugh Hefner was a vampire and gay. There you go. It's got a lot of boy toys in there. That's what I'm saying. A lot of boy toys. Anyway, they take her there. They have this one vampire that has a talent, because when vampires take their fangs out to feed and all that, they get into, they get this special saliva and it can heal. So this vampire can make a lot of it, so they're calling him. They have to remove the stake out of Sookie's body, and then he's going to help heal her wound. So that's done, with poor Sookie being in a shit ton of pain, obviously, although a doctor that's there gives her some good drugs to help her. So anyway, that's done. Sookie is there with Eric, and Bubba arrives. Somehow he managed, even with the security, to get into the mansion, and Eric tells him to go and find, if he can find Bill. So he looks around and he finds him. There's a building of, it used to be, for carriages, then it was made into a garage. And Sookie, and Baba tells them that that's where Bill is being held. So they basically now have a golden opportunity to save Bill, because because it's the night of a full moon. In the morning, he's guarded by werewolves, but they're probably going to be completely out of it after a whole night of wandering around. And all the vampires are going to be sleeping, and probably the humans as well. All of Russell's boy toys. So they have a golden opportunity now, no better opportunity to save Bill. So Eric goes and gets Sookie a car. He also has her drink a lot of his blood to make her stronger, because she's going to need it. There's another young vampire there, actually has a thing for Eric. It's kind of funny, because Eric was talking about how it is taboo and all that, but he has to entertain him. I think he somehow manages to get out of it and leave later on. Anyway, he leaves the car for Sookie, and of course Russell doesn't want her to stay, as the boy toy vampire tells. And she's like, no problem. My friend here, not Eric's gonna get me a car, and I'll drive away in the morning. Just tell the guards at the gate. They tell Baba to go and hide somewhere for the morning, and that's it. So come morning, Sookie in borrowed clothing goes out into this garage, finds the place where Bill is, and comes in. Now inside there are two werewolf guards, but they are pretty out of it, sleeping. She goes into the room and she finds Bill, and he's in really fucking poor shape. He's been tortured for many weeks probably at that point. And he's got a silver chain around him. Like a thin one, but silver hurts vampires very badly. So he's in a lot of pain, and Sookie has to hurry. She has to hurry and do something now, because they don't have a lot of time. And it's like a really cloudy morning, so she hopes that helps, because she has to get Bill inside the car, into the trunk, and hide him there, and then drive him. She tells her she's going to drive him to Alice's apartment building, into the garage, because he has to be somewhere where there's no sun. So she calls him, and he's like, Sookie, it's you. And so she starts the process of untangling the chain from him, which she has to do as quickly as possible, but it's also very painful for Bill, and he does his best not to make noise. And then, Lorena comes in, the woman he was going to leave her for. Uh-oh. So she's shorter than Sookie, and she apparently is this homicidal bitch or something. And she is, now Sookie takes with her the stake that was used on her. She takes it with her as a weapon. And because she has the element of surprise, because Lorraine obviously wasn't expecting her, she manages in a very short fight to stake Lorena, and she kills her. The bitch is dead. So that's like, oh shit. But also, yay. So she quickly, Bill has to, she tells him, Bill, come on, you have to move. I can't carry you. So slowly, but, well, not so slowly, they make it to the truck, to the car. Bill sits in the trunk, and then Sookie pushes him, and he practically falls asleep there. She wraps him up in the blanket that she took, closes the trunk, and then she's wondering if she should take an extra few minutes and bury or hide Lorena's body. And she decides that she probably should. She goes in. Now it helps her that she's full of vampire blood, and also Lorena isn't particularly a big woman. So she drags her body wrapped around the silver chain. The silver chains, she puts them in her shirt, in Lorena's shirt. She drags her to the pool, because the pool's covered for the winter. She opens the flap and throws her body in there. And then she drives out of there. After the guards ask her, oh, so you're coming to the crucifixion? She's like, what? So she drives out of there. At first she panics a bit, because she doesn't know where she is. But then she finds the map, and then also she finds a gas station, and a lady there instructs her. And so she finally makes it to Alice's building, telling the guard up front, oh, I had to go get a car, can you just give me a sticker for now? Because you need one to get in. And so she goes in, into the garage, and they're somewhat safe. Then Sookie falls asleep in there for a few hours, exhaustion and being staked and all. And then she decides to go in and check on Bill, and she opens the trunk and doesn't expect it, but someone shoves her in. Now that someone is Debbie, because Alice has a toxic relationship with her. He still hasn't took her key away, and even though the bitch is engaged to marry someone else, she still can't seem to leave Alice alone. So Sookie's like, oh shit. Now luckily Bill doesn't have to breathe, but he's also been tortured and injured, and he's probably going to wake up very, very hungry, which means he's going to attack Sookie. And unfortunately, yeah, that's what he does. And he bites her hard, but then he also, shoves himself in there, because he also has another desire as he's feeding. Basically, poor Sookie. But she manages to bring him back to himself, and he's like, oh, Sookie, I'm so sorry. And she can't breathe. He punches a hole through the trunk after being full of her blood. And then Eric finds them. So Sookie loses consciousness, and she wakes up in Alice's apartment. They're all figuring out what happened. And then she tells them that she was told, are you coming to the crucifixion? And they think, oh, maybe they meant Bill. But then she's like, oh shit, what do they mean Bubba? What if they caught him? So then, oh fuck, they gotta do something. But Bill's like, we have to go back. Sookie obviously doesn't want to go back. And then she said, well, why don't we just call? So they call his mansion, and she gets his second-in-command on the phone, telling her a story that she was kidnapped by vampires, forced to relay a message, and she tells her who Bubba is and explains, and they manage to stop it in time. So Bubba's staying there for a little while. Alice gets a call from Debbie and tells them all to quickly go into the next apartment, which is for the best because Debbie's a bitch and she might have put two and two together on what's going on. And then they're fighting. And then the other apartment, which they broke into, that's right next to Alice's, Bill and Sookie are fighting. So this whole thing, this whole the balagan basically started because Bill was working on a vampire dictionary, putting in vampires and their abilities, and stupidly putting in vampires that didn't want to be part of this dictionary. And that's why he's been kidnapped, because the other vampires wanted this dictionary. Which is like, what? You people don't know how to use a phone or something? Just call or tell Bill, hey, we want a piece of this. Yeah, I know. So basically, a lot of people, a lot of vampires, werewolves, and people died just for this thing. A lot of damage has been done, basically. But Sookie can't believe it, and she can't believe that he wanted to leave her for Lorena. Because, mind you, Lorena joined in the torture of him. She basically decided to sell him out for money. So she was torturing him for weeks, essentially. And he was gonna leave Sookie for her. Who knows why? I wonder what she had, what kind of spell she had on him. In the sense of what he found so attractive about her, he was willing to throw Sookie to the curb. So that's it. Sookie's tired of it all. She wants to go home. She goes to Eric and, just take me home. Alice, he can drop off my things, her suitcase. So they drive home, and on the way they go into a gas station. Now, this Frank guy, he is still missing, and they think that Sookie might have had something to do with it. And they're sending along thugs, because they don't have a lot of werewolves available because of the full moon, to try to capture her. The poor teenager working in the gas station gets beaten up because of that, but Sookie manages to, with the help of Eric, to save him. They also somehow trap Eric with a silver net, but they're stupid, so he escapes it. So that's it. He uses his vampire powers to tell them both to say that they didn't see them both. He doesn't do anything to the teenager. That poor teenager is just so tight. He's got a shotgun with him. That's a prepared kid. So they leave. They drive back, and then Sookie and Eric have an argument. She's like, I'm tired of all this vampire shit. And, before I met you people, or you vampires, it's my dad coughing, sorry. I had a normal life, or, as normal as she could for a telepath lady. And, because of these jobs, I'm missing work, and I need money, and, I can't get, because Eric tells her, why don't you pave your driveway? And she's like, because I have no money. And he's like, but what about what we paid you for the Dallas job? And she said, well, I had to pay some kind of tax, I think it was. I can't do this. And then, with her abilities, she hears that there's some people in her house, but because she's so angry and irrational, she doesn't think to check. So she goes grab the keys she hid under the rocking chair, and goes in, and Eric's like, Sookie, no, but it's too late. There's, about 7 of them there, thugs and 1 werewolf. And they're there to find out what happened with Frank. 2 of them are holding Sookie while the werewolf hits her. Eric's been shot at, but he managed to escape into the woods. And they're still hitting Sookie, and she fights back. She's like, oh, fuck it, I'll go down fighting. She punches, and with her legs, she kicks the big werewolf. He hits her in the stomach and slaps her. But then the door is slammed open, and both Eric and Bill are there, and they just kill all of them and drink the human's blood, too. And then, for Sookie, they help her. Okay, so Bill found that Bill made a deal with the King of Mississippi to, not have to look over his shoulder for the rest of his existence. And they go and And so he went back to warn them that they're being looked for. So, long story short, they help Sookie. She loses consciousness. She wakes up in the morning in her bed, redressed. They cleaned her living room from all and the bodies are gone. And then her brother Jason drops by, and he sees her face, and did Bill do this to you? Because I'm going to get a torch and a sharp broom handle. She asked him to pick up her mail while she was away. And she's like, no, and he goes in with her, and he tells her, oh, by the way, I like how the road's been paved. And she's like, what? And she notices for the first time that someone came and paved the road, like with the expensive stuff. And she's like, what? I didn't order this. And Jason's mad, and he's like, don't pay for this. I'm going to talk to that bastard. And then, oh, wait, I have this note that was stuck to her. I was going to give it to you, but then I saw your face, because it's swollen from being slapped. He gives her the note, and Eric paid for it. And the guy who did the work, and she knows him, he says, just call us if there's a problem. So Eric paid to have her road paved and even added a parking space for her there. How considerate. I was a bit angry at her, but I have a feeling it's because, I don't know, maybe because she tried to save his life, he now owes her. Maybe it's a vampire thing. Anyway, that evening Pam arrives, and then Bill and Eric arrive. But before that, Alice C. arrives in the afternoon and brings her suitcase. And they talk, and she feels like that Alice C., although he says he doesn't want to pass the werewolf gene, and he doesn't want to have that's why he broke up with Debbie as well, because she wanted children, and he did not. But she has a feeling that maybe Alice C., might still want to date a werewolf lady in the end of the day. But anyway, he kisses her. There's a little something between them. He brings her the suitcase, and he touches her gently, but she's sore all over, and he apologizes. And he leaves his card and his personal cell number for her, and takes her number in case she ever needs anything. And he also broke up with Debbie finally. Well, then that's it in the evening. Like I said, the vampires arrive. Now, after Pam, Baba arrives. They treated him very well in that Playboy mansion. Styled him and everything, and I think he agreed to sing for them. Now, at that moment, Sookie finally solves the mystery, because she and Alice C. don't know who the hell left the body in the closet. Because that was either someone very malicious or very stupid. And it turns out it was Baba, because he followed Eric's instruction to protect Sookie from that day that she was going to work. So he followed her, and when this werewolf Frank tried to break into the apartment, he managed to grab him just as he picked the lock, and he crushed his neck. And then he stuffed him in the closet because he figured that Sookie and Eric would know what to do. And that explains it, because Baba, that's his MO in a way. When he kills someone, he just crushes their windpipe. So then they finally find out, and she's like, oh man, I wish I could tell Alice C. this in the afternoon. Then Eric and Bill arrive, Baba leaves, she tells them what happened, all that, and then Pam leaves. And it looks like Eric and Bill are going to start fighting. Eric is still mad at Bill for, all that he did with this dictionary. So what caused all these problems. And then Sookie reincides her invitation to both of them, so they'll leave her alone. And then she suddenly realizes that this dictionary that so much has been lost because of, that both Eric and Bill and the Queen of Louisiana want, it's in her house, hidden, and they can't get it without her say-so. And she starts laughing. And that's where the book ends. Whew, okay, it's been long. Oh boy. Gotta get going soon to something. But yeah, that's the story. Ugh. Poor Sookie. Never a dull moment in her life. Alright, so there we have this. I love these covers. This is, I think, I don't know what edition. There's not that many, but I do love these. They're so pretty. I love the little drawings of you see, that's supposed to be Sookie with, maybe Bill, I don't know. And there's Club Dead, or representation of it anyway. Love these covers. I love the colors and everything. So yeah, as I said, I love this story. I love Sookie's character. She's a very interesting lady, dealing with a lot, with her talent for telepathy, which she had to basically manage by herself. That's why she didn't have a boyfriend until Bill, because she couldn't date any. Imagine being able to hear what the person with you thinks about you all the time. It would, you'd go crazy. And some things you don't want to hear what someone thinks about you. So the man in Bone Temps think that Sookie's crazy, and they pretty much stay away from her. And she would have to date like someone who's not a big thinker in order to somehow live with him. And with Bill, she can't hear his thoughts at all, what made her really happy about this relationship and, the sex. But she's, still, since she came into the world of vampires, she has been, now she had her knee broken, she had been beaten, she's been, staked now. So yeah, poor woman. Well, what are you gonna do? I guess when you're not exactly normal and of the supernatural, your life's not gonna be normal either, is it now? But yeah, still, some cool stuff. I fucking love this series. It's so much fun to read. Just, all the descriptions and the vampire world, and it's just awesome. I'm definitely gonna continue this series. If I keep going, I might finish it by next year. Maybe. Well, I'm gonna read something else now, but still. Yeah, it's a great book series. It's basically how Twilight would have been good. Essentially. Because Twilight is, although as a teenager I loved it, it's basically it's a lame version of what this is. Because this shows the relationship is realistic, it's dangerous, it's no joke. Although, technically I guess glamour doesn't work on Bella either, but, Bella's basically a wet paper bag. There's no personality in her because you're meant to project yourself onto her. For teenagers, but still, that's just what makes it lame. She doesn't have a personality to speak of, something that you can relate to, or like, you poor thing, or, even just think, yeah, you go, Sookie. So yeah, that's why this one is, this is no comparison. This is a super fun series. Really super fun. And, although it has, I'm thinking, of Night Huntress. That one I also enjoyed, but I like this one more because it's less focusing, but it's, although both of them have sex, but this one, at least it's not, that one has, quite a lot of sex. Not that I mind, but that one got a bit bad because it was, it started to go backwards in the main character's life, like what happened before, and it got convoluted. But anyway, sorry, I'm off track here. But yeah, I love this series. I can't wait to continue to book 4 and see how this one ends. I've only watched a few episodes of the TV show, but I don't think I would like it because it's not, I almost always prefer the books. I'm not big on the series. So yeah, so they make changes, obviously. All right, folks. So that's all I have to say for this one. Let me know what you thought of Club Dead if you've read it. Leave it down below in the comments. What do you think of Sookie's Steakhouse series in general? I always found the name funny when I first heard it because Sookie sounds a lot like a swear word in Russian, a cuss word. So that's I found that funny. It's quite a name too. All right, so that is it. Remember, collect what you're passionate about, share it on YouTube. Bye. So that's all I have to say for this.